Alright, hey everyone, so this is just a speed up video of me making the magic wallet bifold. So first I'm starting off with just cutting off 2 pieces of 8-inch tape. And this is not the tutorial, I'm going to have an in-depth tutorial, but I'm just doing a short little thing, so if people want to get to making it before I do the tutorial, then they'll know how. So I separated those white pieces because I wanted to do the chrome as the billfold. So it doesn't really matter what this part looks like the white piece. You'll see a wrinkle, but that's mainly because it's all getting covered up. And then I'm cutting off any excess pieces, and I'm doing this just the way I make all my wallets. So, so I'm not going in depth, but I will go in depth in another video. And then once I make the billfold piece, I was thinking about what I was gonna do, because I just kind of made this as I just went along, like as I was making it. So I cut off 4 pieces of 3 3/4 inches tape, and then made a duct tape sheet that was 3 inches high out of those. And this is going to be my one part of my magic wallet. And then I'm doing the same thing here. This is when I realized like what I think I was going to do. So just making 2 of those. So those 2 duct tape sheets are 3 inches by 3 3/4 inches. Then I cut an 8-inch piece of tape and I folded it in half, and then I'm gonna cut it with my scissors. Alright, so once I had those, I moved them out of the way, and I'm just creating an X on one with some excess, as you can see, on both sides, and I'm folding over those little pieces and covering that up with tape. And then I'm trimming that because it ended up being too big, but I'd rather have too much than too little. And now I'm placing those on the back of the other sheet, and I'm just covering them up. So it should look like this when you flip it over. And you can find tutorials on how to make this. I will be posting one on how to make the magic wallet, so don't worry. I know it's kind of hard to understand. And then I just did the same thing, 8 inches, and I slid it in just straight, folding it over, popping some tape down. You can kind of see the method. Duct Tape Stuff has a really good tutorial on this. And then now I'm covering up these 2 back pieces on the back. And then there it is. So I know that was probably really confusing, but I promise I'll have a tutorial. So now I'm just figuring out how I'm actually going to attach the wallet, because at this point I had no idea. And to be honest, I had no idea until I was finished. So now I'm creating the card pockets, and I'm just taking 3 3/4 inches of duct tape and putting them on top of each other. And I decided on just a simple chrome trim. So I'm just taking it and doing 1/4 of an inch of trim. And I'm pretty sure I have a video on trim. I know I was saying I was going to do one for a long time and never got around to it, but I think I have one. I'll check and see if I do. And if I do, then I'll post it in the description. I can't remember, and if I don't, then I'll make one for sure. So I'm making 2 more pockets here because it has 4 pockets in total. And I'm just finding a good spot to where I can see my lines to trim it. And I'm just doing the same thing with this one. And sorry there's no more music in these. I can't do music because I keep getting in trouble with YouTube. So, oh well. I guess it's good to have someone like describing what you're doing. So now I'm just taking a piece of duct tape, and you see I'm taking one smaller piece and duct taping this pocket down, and then I'm taking a larger piece and taping this down. And you can't wrap that piece around or else you'll mess up your magic wallet. So I had to make sure that the pocket was up a bit so I could actually tape it onto the sheet itself without wrapping it over. And I'll explain that more in my tutorial. So now I'm just doing the taping the sides, and I'm cutting out triangles just so that it's easier to fold over, because when you cut off the corners it's a lot easier to fold these pieces over. So you'll see me doing that again, and then I just trim it down a little bit so it fits and I don't have to tuck underneath the pieces. And then I'm just cutting my pockets, and now I'm just looking at it thinking like, how in the world am I gonna attach this? You can see me sit and like mess with it. And so here I decided I was going to attach the top like this. So I took a piece of 3 3/4 inch tape and cut it in half, and then I placed it over the chrome pieces and then folded it all the way over. And then I was going to cut a piece of chrome, but then decided not to, as you can see. And now I'm cutting out the X. So I cut out little pieces of the X, and I was very careful not to actually cut the chrome piece. So as you can see, I'm leaving a little piece on the top and making sure that it still flips when I do this. And I was going to tape down the bottom, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do that just yet. So I waited. And now I'm working on the other flip-up pocket. So I'm doing the exact same method as last time, where I'm taking 4 pieces of 3 3/4 inches tape and creating a duct tape sheet that's 3 3/4 inches by 3 inches. And now I'm placing a piece of tape over that, and I'm doing this, I'm just folding it down. And I put this card pocket on, and you'll see me adjusting it, but I ended up not putting on the top piece. You'll see me redo it in a second. So I ended up not putting that piece on straight, so it looked really weird, so I had to take that off. So there's me fixing that and just wrapping it over. And then there you go. So that's how I ended up doing it. And then cut the pockets, I trim it down, do the side. Now I'm working on my ID. And my ID sheets, they're cut to like 3 3/4 by 2 3/8, I believe. So now I'm just putting on the side piece. Now I'm using my lines to make sure that it's even. And I fold down the top of the trimming. And then I'm just covering up a blemish in my wallet, so that's why you see me put that piece down. And then I'm just folding it over. So making sure everything fits. Or not folding it over, putting it down, just taping it. And now I'm taking a 3-inch piece and I'm taping down the sides, and you'll see I'll lift up the pocket piece because you don't want to tape the pocket down. So you'll see me lifting it up to do that. There's me playing with the magic wallet again, because at this point I still had no idea how I was going to finish this, but I decided just to start doing the other piece and see what happens. So I'm taking 2 pieces of 8-inch duct tape, and this is, or chrome, and this is the inside, and then like I set it down on top, and I was still trying to figure out like what I was going to do. So I just thought I'd do it my normal way. Now I'm cutting 2 pieces of 9-inch tape, and now what I'm doing is I'm leaving an excess of 1/2 inch on the bottom and the sides. And I ended up actually messing up on this part because the wallet moved as I was putting it down, so you'll see a piece of sticky, and I was gonna cover it up, but then I decided it would look cool with chrome lines, and so that's how I got the idea of doing lines. So now I'm just cutting out the little squares like I normally do in all my wallets, and you can see how I do this if you watch my wallet tutorial video. And here I'm just lifting up the pockets and taping down the sides, still not knowing how I was going to do the bottom, but I decided I'd cut it in half, kind of, as you see it as I did, and then cut out little squares where the chrome was, leaving just a little bit that I pushed up onto it. And so that is how I ended up finishing the wallet. And now you'll see I still have one more thing to do. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Oh, I had a little piece stuck, I remember that. So I had to clean off that piece and then tape that down. Sorry, my phone's vibrating, so if you hear that, I'm really sorry. So now I'm about to make the lines. So I'm cutting an 8-inch piece of tape. I went to go get my cutting board. So I'm using a Fiskars, I think that's how you pronounce it. Every product I use is Fiskars. I really love their brand. And it's just a cutting board. It's in the scrapbooking section. And then I place this little line over top of the blemish I accidentally did. So I did that. And then now I'm just going to be cutting out smaller lines. So I'm cutting out the smaller lines just the same. If you have one of these mats, be careful when you work with it. use the lines on the board to line it up, and then I forgot to move that down, sorry. Line your duct tape up with the lines on the board, and it helps you create a straighter line, even though it's pretty hard to get a straight line with this. So when you're cutting, you're gonna put it down, and then you'll see me push down the sides as I just did there. So what I mean by the sides, push down on the duct tape around the edge where it's going to be cut, if that makes sense. You'll see me do it whenever I cut anything. It makes it so much easier. So just make sure your duct tape is nice and stuck down. So there I was pushing down on the side, and this piece messed up. You kind of have to be careful when you lift up your cutting mat. So as you see, I'm lifting up it slowly there, and hopefully I move it out of the way. I think I was fixing the piece of duct tape because it had something on it. Okay, good, I did move it out of the way. And when doing lines like these, I recommend not putting two of the same size right beside each other. And I ended up cutting two of the same size of both of them, so I had to put it at the top. If you put it a certain distance away, it looks good. Just make sure not to have two of the same size, like right beside each other. I always feel like that looks really bad. So then I have a thick one on the bottom, and then there it is.